And we're back, part 2 of the power of our words, and we're focusing right now on children. And Leslie and I actually pretty much had a video in between these videos, so I just want to start by saying this. I think it's very important that we remember, as people in general, not necessarily just moms and parents, but as people in general, children are nothing more than a miniature person. And they're born with fears and anxieties and, well, I won't say they're born with. They develop, these things. When they're born, it's free. The world is great, but they know you and they know your voice as a mother. But they're born here as an emotional being. We're emotional people, but we all show that in different ways. I'm a crier. I get really sappy at times, but I'm also I want to get my point across kind of person. And my children are criers, but they've absorbed that from me over the years, and they're emotional with me. So what I want to point out is that our children are just people. They're just sinners like we are. They make mistakes. They're not always going to say and do the right things. But what they need to know is that they're loved in spite of.
Right.
In spite of. Not because of their perfection, not because they did everything right, but they're loved in spite of the moments that they didn't do things right.
And I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
No, you're good. Go.
And I think what we need to remember is our children are dependent on our emotions and our reactions as to how they, you know what I mean? I'm at a loss for words.
Like
here.
If mommy's in this situation, how did she respond?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I get in that same situation, this is how I should respond because my mom did that way. And that's so true.
What does mommy do when she's frustrated? I'm
frustrated.
frustrated.
Does she throw things?
Right.
Does she cuss at daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Does she
whine?
Does she put me in a room because I'm on her nerves because she had a bad day at work?
Mm-hmm.
Our kids will eventually do those same things in their own lives and reflect that on other people. And I think what we need to understand, and I'll tell you my daughter gave me like a wide-eyed, bright wake-up call not too long ago when we were in the car driving home. It was just she and I, and sometimes I am a goof. I'm not going to lie, I am a straight-up goof. And I like to do impressions. She didn't know that about me. I do impressions of things, and I don't do it in public because I'm not that great at it, but my daughter thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. So I will sing music in different languages, or for example, I'll sing a song like I'm a really thick Southern accent, or I will sing it like a British, or yes.
I gotta see this.
No. So my daughter thinks it's the greatest thing ever, and we're driving home one day, and it's just she and I am cutting loose singing to a Taylor Swift song, like, ridiculous. And she told me that I sounded like, wait a minute, I took notes on this in my car because I was laughing so hard at her for her comment. Number one, because it was a very smart comment. Where is it? I will find it. First of all, we had gone to dinner and we're on our way home, and when I got into this mode of singing in these different voices, I even do Arabian or something.
I've got to see this.
I do Chinese really good. I'm great at Chinese and Spanish. Well, English, Spanish. I speak English. I don't anyway. Okay, sorry, wasting time. So she says to me, "What was in that food we ate?" She said, "That truck driver thinks you're crazy, Mom." And then she says, "You're like a country bumpkin and a British person mixed together." And I thought to myself, this is fun. We're having so much fun together, just being free and not caring what other people think. Didn't care that truck driver was watching me dance in my car and whatever. I didn't care. It was we were having fun. But when I got home and it was time for a little bit of seriousness, I wanted her to go upstairs and take her things upstairs and clean her room before dinner. And on her way up the stairs, she's kind of stomping a little harder. And she says to me, and I didn't, let me start by prefacing that I didn't come across in the exact nice, like, mom way. It was a very, stern, hey, put your stuff away, get your room straightened up, and be back down here for dinner, please. Versus, hey, Kay, can you do me a favor? Get your room straightened up because I'd like for you to be here in time for dinner, but you can't, I want to make sure that's done. I didn't come across to her in the way that I was in the car.
So you switched gears quickly on her.
Yeah. And she was so in that moment of fun mom that when I did that, she stomps her feet up the stairs and says, what did she call me? She called me something. Fuddy Duddy Mom is back. Talk about deflate the balloon. Like, I know. She just called me a fuddy duddy. And that's what
So she said you were back. That's the bad part.
Right, like I had been there before, right? It hurt. It hurt. But then I thought to myself, she's kind of right. I didn't approach it properly. I didn't switch gears on her. I didn't give her time to get out of that mode. And what I could have done is gone upstairs with her and helped her clean her room real quick so she could get down for dinner. Mm-hmm. There's things that you can do. That was a fly that just stood on the camera. I'm going to kill it.
Anyway.
But you see my point. It's all about your words and how you use them. Mm-hmm. And you can change it. You can look at somebody and say, I love you. Or, Leslie, I love you. Did you feel the same with both of those? Or did one make you feel like I meant it? And the other one made you feel like I was rehearsed and just had to say it?
Well, the way you're looking at me right now, I feel like I should say no.
If your husband
right,
looks at you,
absolutely,
and your kids, okay, love you, bye. Versus, I'm going to stop.
You. Yeah.
I'm going to make eye contact with you, and I'm going to tell you that I love you. You're special. And I want to. If you go ahead and add anything, if you have anything to add, because I feel like I'm kind of taking this video over.
You're good right now. You're good. I'll interrupt.
Okay, but what I want to say here is that I'm not saying that you have to make everything kind and cushioned and pretty in a little package with a bow. What I'm saying is that your intentional words, the things that you want your children to believe about themselves, have to outweigh the negative that you feed into them when you're in a hurry, when things aren't quite going as planned and things, we all get in those moments where it's like, come on, we got to go. You're moving as slow as molasses. We got to get out the door, blah, blah, blah. When we think that way, but we never come back to say, hey, sorry I got a little razzled this morning, but listen, we're on a schedule. You explain to them and be willing to say, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. So many parents, so many people in general, are not willing to be humble and say, I am sorry.
I have a good example. This morning, Angie took Aubrey down to see his parents, and I put her hair up in a little bun, and I was in a hurry, and Aubrey, if you know my kid, she's squirrely. Squirrely is the best word to describe her.
And her dad's nickname is Squirrel.
Right. Sorry. Good point. She's just everywhere. So doing her hair sometimes is taxing. So anyway, I went to put a clip in her bun, and I was trying to do it with a moving head, and
stabbed her.
I stabbed her. And of course I yelled and said, well, if you would have stood still, that would have never happened. And obviously she was upset, like tears and everything. So I had to stop, take a time out for myself, and hug her and say, Mommy's really sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, but you need to stand still like I asked you to, So, good example anyway.
Yeah, and it's taking it on ourselves. What was your responsibility? Or what was your input there? We want so fast to put it off on the person. Like, I reacted this way because you did this. Mm-hmm. But what about your control of your own action? Right. If you would have done this, this wouldn't have happened.
Right.
But what about the way I chose to react to you
Mm-hmm.
because I was in control and I could
Stupid fly.
seriously.
Sorry, guys.
Where's the fly swatter?
I don't have one, believe it or not.
Got a book? I got my Bible. I don't want to smash it with my Bible. Anyway.
Yeah.
Why the camera? The camera is like this big. Why is it so attracted to the camera? We're 10 minutes and 17 seconds right now, but I want to end on this thought, and we'll probably do a part 3 to this just because there's a lot that we're not touching on right this second.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to say is this. Personal responsibility for our own behavior. You have to instill that in your children.
Absolutely.
They have to see it in you.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if you don't take responsibility and you don't step up and say, I'm sorry for the way I acted, I'm sorry for my words to you because they were hurtful and unnecessary because I could have said it a different way. If you're not willing to say I'm sorry, why would they then reciprocate and come back and say, Mom, I'm sorry for my behavior?
Right.
And that is something that I have done, and we'll hit on that in the next video. But think
I've got
about that
input
for a
on that, too.
second.
Yeah.
How much of an impact can you make by simply saying, I'm sorry
I didn't mean
for what I did,
Mhm.
even though I didn't mean to, because it didn't come out the way I meant it to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Part 3 coming up.